All right, so in today's video, we are going to talk about how to get better closes and more closes from your advertising efforts. If you're running ads on any platforms and you're getting a bunch of leads, but you're not closing any of them, this is probably the reason why. In fact, this is the number one reason that I see a lot of people do not close their leads, and I'm going to show you how to fix that in this video. When I go out to eat, the first thing that happens is the host will take me to my table and sit me and whoever I'm with down. And then the first thing that I'm waiting for is for my server to come over and greet the table. If I sit down at a restaurant and 5 to 10 minutes go by and the server has not come and greeted my table, I will walk out. Like if I'm hungry enough and I wasn't so serious about eating at that place, I was interested in eating there, but I could go eat somewhere else. If the server does not come to the table and greet me, I will get up and leave. Now, I know this sounds a little harsh, but this is the reality of it because I used to be a server at one point in my life. I was a server for 2 to 3 years in college, and I worked at 3 different serving jobs, and every single one of those jobs, they made it very clear that you had to greet the table within 30 seconds of them coming in. If you didn't do that, you could get in serious trouble. If you are having leads come in from your ads, it is very, very important that you call that lead within 5 minutes of them coming in. If a lead comes into your lead funnel, they need to have an interaction with somebody on your team, a customer representative or a sales team member, or if you can't get around to it, an AI or some form of automation within the first 5 minutes of them coming through the funnel. Because if they don't, they will forget about your service. They will move on to the next person. There have been plenty of times where I've gone on Google, I've called a company because I needed something. Let's say I called a carpet company because I was trying to replace my carpet. I called the first carpet company, they didn't answer. So what did I do? I called the second carpet company, and then I called the third carpet company. And then whoever picked up the phone first or whoever called me back first was the person that I usually ended up working with. As long as their reviews were pretty nice and they had a good reputation, whoever called me back first was usually the one that I worked with. One big thing that a lot of entrepreneurs don't do and need to do is put their ego aside when they run ads. Understand, your business is not that special, okay? People are not begging to work with you just because you have a logo and because you have a couple of trucks. Understand that people are going to find their best option as quickly as possible, okay? People are looking to get whatever problem solved that your business was going to solve as quickly as possible. And so if that means they have to call 7 different companies, they're going to do that. But understand, you have to put your ego aside for a second and really, really get this. Like if someone fills out your form on Facebook, they're not sitting by the phone waiting for you to call them and saying, "Oh, hey, like, I can't believe I'm happy you called. Thank God, I've been sitting here by the phone waiting for you. Yes, of course, I will pay for your service." That is not how it works. So understand that you have to put your ego aside first and really, really understand that your business is not all that special. And people are going to forget that they filled out your form. And so it is important that you remind them as quickly as possible that they filled out the form. So first things first, you need to have a sales team member or a customer representative call and speak to the prospect within the first 5 minutes of them coming in. Every minute that passes that the customer is not reached out to, the likelihood that they close drops precipitously. So understand, the likelihood that this person closes drops significantly over time the longer that you don't call them, because they go back to their life. They fill out the form, they want the thing that you're offering, and then they go back to their life and continue doing what they were previously doing. And they completely forget. So when you call the prospect, the first thing that you need to say, this is the best first message that I have ever sent. I have used countless messages across multiple different companies and niches, and this is the best message that I have found so far. It is, "Hey, prospect, did you fill out this form about getting whatever it is that you're offering?" Not your actual service. So you're not saying, "Hey, did you fill out a form for Alpha Construction?" You said, "Hey, did you fill out a form to get $0 down financing or a $0 down install on a new bathroom in your home. Whatever your offer is, you need to put the offer in that messaging. And that adds another layer to this as well. Anytime you send a message to a prospect, it should remind the prospect about what you're actually talking about, especially in the early stages. So if you have an offer, it needs to be everywhere. It needs to be on your calendar. It needs to be in your text messages. It needs to be in your email subjects. Your prospects are going to forget why they filled out the form. They might not have necessarily wanted to get their bathroom remodeled, but because you are able to install it for free up front and then they have a 36-month payment, that's something more doable for them. So understand that people filled out the form for a reason, and that reason is the offer. If you have a bad offer, by the way, I have other videos on my channel. I'll try to put a link up here to a video that you can watch to get a better offer. That's just how it is. So understand, you have to let them know, hey, you filled out this thing about this offer. Now, when we send the initial text message, we are asking, did you fill out this form about getting this offer? We do this on the phone and we do this via text. This does two things. One, it is softer than, hey, welcome to the business. We're so happy that you're here. That is very like, wow, okay, that's a lot. I don't know if I'm that serious. But the second thing that it does is it allows the person to actually stop and think and ask the question to themselves, did I fill out this form? A lot of times you'll get a positive response. Yes, I did fill out this form. It's a lot better than, hey, we saw you just filled out this form about this thing. They go, oh, whoa, hey, watch out. Now, obviously, like that doesn't always happen, but sometimes you will get a lead that genuinely did not fill out the form. There's no point in having the conversation with them if they didn't fill out the form. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes autofill, you'll get some bad contact, bad information. This is why you want to add more qualifying questions in to your form so that you can ensure that the lead that comes in is more qualified. The more hoops they have to jump through, the more serious they are about buying. The more effort they have to put in, the more serious they are about buying. If it takes them 30 minutes to fill out your form, that's a serious buyer. Now, it's going to cost you more to acquire that person. So I wouldn't personally put that many qualifying questions so you can get more leads to have conversations with. But understand that the more qualifying questions you have, the more intent that you get from the prospect. Now, once you have that initial, hey, did you fill out this form? Then you go into the qualifying questions. So after they say, yes, I did, you then say, okay, John, well, I only have a couple minutes. Let them know you don't have much time, because what you don't want to do is make them think that you are going to spend the next 45 minutes asking them about their problem or the service that they're trying to get. So you say, okay, John, I only have a couple minutes really quick, but I just wanted to ask you a few quick questions. Is that cool? They say, sure. And then you ask them about the qualifying questions that they submitted. You just say, hey, I saw that you had said you're looking to get a new bathroom remodel. You will need financing options and you're ready to get started in the next couple of weeks. Can you give me a little bit more of an understanding about your service? This gives them the opportunity to then tell you why they want to work with you and why they need your service. Okay. After this, all you have to do is schedule your first consultation with them, whether it's in home or it's inside of your business. And then you get off the phone with them from there. That is the phone call. So understand, that's the phone call. However, not all the time you can get to the lead as soon as the lead comes in. For example, if a lead comes in at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're probably not awake. And to be honest, you probably don't want to call them anyway. Now, I'll give you a little secret. I call leads at 3 o'clock in the morning. If I have somebody come in through my sales funnel at 3 o'clock in the morning, I will call them and say, hey, I saw you filled out this thing. And in fact, you will actually find a lot of times that people are more impressed by the fact that you called them at 3 o'clock in the morning, because they pick up the phone and they go, who is this? And then you say, you just filled out a thing on Facebook. And they're like, you're awake at this time? Wow, you're ready to work with me? And you're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And they go, wow, this is the greatest customer service I've ever gotten. Call them as soon as they come in. But sometimes you can't. And so when you can't, like for that example, and I said, again, it's completely okay not to call them at 3 o'clock in the morning. You're going to want to have some form of text message go out to the lead to let them know, hey, we acknowledge that you filled out our form. Let's continue the ball rolling. So what I like to do is send exactly what I just told you to say on the phone, but as a text message. Hey, John, did you fill out this form to get this offer? If so, just respond yes. That way they know it's an automated message. So they respond yes. Then, right after that, if they respond yes, they can get sent a calendar link. Okay, completely fine. Well, if you'd like, you can schedule a consultation call with one of our team members so we can help you out as best as possible. Here's a link to our calendar. And then you send them to the calendar like that. Now, if they don't answer that initial message, you can add them to a follow-up sequence for text for maybe 5 to 7 days, just reminding them, hey, we saw that you filled out this thing. Are you still interested? Here's our calendar link. You always want to keep them around. And then you want to continue calling them. I like to call leads as soon as they come in. I call them an hour later. I call them like 5 hours later. And then I call them the next day. And then I might call them 3 times that week. In fact, I had one time someone tell me that they called a lead 15 times in a single day. And the lead finally picked up the phone and they closed the lead. That's dedication right there. People don't answer the phone. Understand, you have to put your ego aside and understand that people are not waiting around to work with you. I have seen so many people run ads, have a bunch of leads come in, and then nobody picks up the phone and they go, oh, well, Facebook ads don't work. Well, how many times did you call the lead? Well, I only called them once or twice. Okay, you need to call that lead until they buy, die, or unsubscribe. They should be getting sent emails for months after they fill out that form. They should be getting reminded that you exist. You should be retargeting them with your advertising. This is very, very important that you do these things because you are leaving money on the table if you don't. And a lot of businesses are. A lot of businesses are not doing the work required to actually run a profitable campaign. And that's what I do. So I not only do I help people run profitable advertising campaigns, but I also ensure that you are getting the proper follow-up sequences in place to make sure that you're not leaving any money on the table. If that's something that you're interested in, I have a link in the description. You can book a call with me and we can have a conversation about building your advertising campaign properly. You have to make sure that you are calling your leads. You have to put your ego aside and understand that people are not gunning to work with you all day, every day. They have things going on too. People don't answer the phone all the time, and they especially don't answer the phone to a number they don't know. You might have to call them multiple times. In fact, I filled out a form for a company a couple weeks ago. Maybe at this point, it was like a month and a half ago. I filled out a form for a company, and I got a call from them today. Like, I have to personally go and text that company and say, hey, I'm not interested. Like, I have to talk to somebody in that company before they will stop calling me. Do you understand this? I know it's, and look, if you're scared that people are going to think, oh, you're spam calling me, you're calling me a bunch, leave me alone. Look, they gave you their information because they were serious about buying the service. You are trying to see if they're still serious. I've had times before where I called a lead multiple times for months. And eventually one day I called the lead 90 days later. I had probably called this lead 15, 20 times. And the guy picked up the phone and I said, you filled out a form a couple months ago about getting this thing. And he said, a couple months ago, why didn't you call me then? And I said, I did call you. And he said, well, I'm already working with another company. The guy didn't answer my phone just simply because he didn't see my messages, but he would have worked with me had I have called him maybe a couple more times. It's not spammy. It's not disrespectful. It's sales. And if you don't like sales, you're going to have to find something else to do because in sales is brutal, especially in today's day and age. You are going to have to follow up and have conversations with leads, and you're going to have to continue calling them, even though it sucks. Now, you can negate this by hiring a sales team member. You can negate this by hiring another person like a receptionist or putting someone else in the office to do this. You can also get AI to do this. Okay, so AI has gotten pretty good. You can use AI text messages to have conversations and calls with leads, and the AI can actually store memory on every specific conversation with every specific lead so that they can recall back to it whenever the lead comes back in. This is another way that you can save a lot of money and make a ton of money just by installing an AI into your business to have conversations with your leads while you're asleep. Imagine that a lead comes in at 3 o'clock in the morning and the AI has a conversation with the lead and gets the lead to book an appointment and qualify itself before you even hop on the phone with it or with the person. I guess it's a person, right? That's powerful. That's how these big brands are scaling. That's how you beat your competition, by getting to the leads faster. Most people don't have a lead problem, they have a systems problem. Most people can get leads. Like anybody, I'm telling you right now, anybody can put up an advertising campaign and get leads. Seriously, it's not that hard. It's what happens after the lead comes in. And the final point that I want to make too with this is you need to let either the advertising platform, if you know how to, or if you have the proper parameters set up for this, or you need to let your advertising agency know the quality of the leads that you're getting. You need to be able to communicate how good the leads are that you're getting, because you want to ensure that you can update the advertising platform with the proper data and let it know that you're not getting good leads or if you are getting good leads. When you start an advertising campaign, it's brand new. You're asking a new AI to find you leads. And at the beginning, it's probably going to give you not the best leads. That is why you optimize campaigns over time to get better results. And you can only do that by letting the platform know these leads are good, these leads are bad, this is what we're looking for in a lead. When you hire a new cook in the kitchen, the cook might mess up the first meal, but then you show them, okay, this is how you redo this is how you make it better. And so the second meal is better, and the third meal is better, and the fourth meal is better. And then all of a sudden, they're making perfect hotcakes every single time. That's what happens when you run a good advertising campaign and when you communicate with the platform and you let it know this is what's working and this is what's not. Because here's the deal. If what's working is it's getting a bunch of leads, say it's getting you leads for $15 a piece. That sounds all fine and dandy. Oh, I'm getting a bunch of leads for $15 a piece. That means for $150, I get 10 leads. For $1,500, you get 100 leads. That's a lot of leads. Well, what if I told you that most of those leads were not good? And you had to waste your time calling and sending text messages and emailing every single one of these people. It's a waste of time. But Facebook is going to keep optimizing you to get these people. And the thing is, those $15 people usually are not that good. Like, understand, you want to pay more. Like, you want to pay a premium for leads, because when you pay a low amount for leads, you're probably going to get trashy leads. So you ultimately would like to pay more. Like I like when my leads are usually like $100 to $150 for my clients. My business is a little bit different, but for my clients and a lot of high ticket sales, you kind of want your leads to be like $100 to $150, because it can get down to like $50, but realistically, you kind of want it to be in that $100 range, because that's how you know you're paying for quality. Because your lead form is not picking up every single person that comes in. It's not picking up every single person that sees it. It's only getting the qualified buyers. You want to get the qualified buyers. And if you're ready to get more qualified buyers in your business, to have real conversations and book appointments and actually fix your follow-up system so you can get better results, click the link in the description, book a call with me, and we can have a conversation about how to improve your lead quality, get you more leads, and increase your revenue. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and if you want more help on how to get more leads for your business without spending money on ads, click this video right here.